All right, guys. Today we got my unboxing and first impressions of the Infinix Note 60 Ultra here. We got some specialty packaging here as well. So, see what it's all about here. Oh, wow. Very fancy. All right. So, let's go ahead and see it's all about. Here's the phone itself. Oh, wow. Let's get that off. Beautiful looking phone. Kind of has like that carbon fiber look to it. All right.
This is going to be a wow. We get quite a bit of stuff here. We also do get looks like a screen protector. Nice. You actually get a lot of stuff in this box. Screen protector and looks like a case. Again, going with that carbon fiber kind of theme here. This one has a little bit of a texture to it. Very nice. And we also have the 100-watt charging brick. All right.
So this looks like a wireless charging pad. So, okay. Yeah. So it has like this little race car in here, and this thing has some weight to it. Oh, so the charging pad just goes in here like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Isn't that it? Let's see what else. It's just like a card. There's a SIM ejection tool. That's pretty cool. All right.
So, a few more things I wanted to mention about the hardware is it is 202G. And then we also do have IP64 dust tight and water resistance. So you cannot really get this phone wet. It can survive like splashes and stuff like that, but I would just be careful. Also have this button over here, which is basically a universal button. So you can assign it to any application you want, which I'll show you guys. But that's pretty much it with the hardware. All right, so let's talk about the screen here. So this is a pretty big display. It's a 6.7 in AMOLED panel here, and it is 144 hertz. It gets pretty bright up to 4500 nits peak brightness. And we have a pretty nice resolution of 128 by 2644 with a pretty nice PPI of 429. So icons and text look pretty good. We also have pretty good color feedback on here as well too.
So the display is pretty nice, and you also get really good screen to body ratio on here as well, around 89.5%, so pretty close to 90% screen to body ratio. So I think the overall colors look great, and I really don't have an issue with the panel here. You also have Ultra HDR support, which is pretty nice as well too. So yeah, if you are watching content on here, it'll look pretty good.
And like I said, outdoors, it's actually pretty bright. So that was one thing I was really happy with. I want to talk about the active matrix display here.
This one is pretty similar to the Note 60 Pro, but this one has even a cooler kind of like LED effect down here for, like notifications and stuff. But of course, you can, mess with the overall settings here and how bright you want stuff. And you can mess with the look of it.
So you guys can see here, you can change the look, and it's just a really cool way to interact with your notifications. I really like it. That is like the AI assistant, and you could use it for calls, and it even has like little games and stuff on here as well. So if I go right here, you can see more settings. There was like a yeah right here. So there's like a pretty cool game. So it does use like the gyroscope for you to be able to move around. It's very clever. It's pretty cool little feature here. But like I said, it's mostly used where its actual usefulness will be with notifications. Just giving you a cool way of looking at notifications, in a not so boring way. But yeah, I really like the active matrix display here. You also have a few other cool things going on here, as well, like I was telling you guys about the one tap button. So you guys can see here, I can basically assign this to pretty much whatever I want. If I want to bring up the AI assistant, and if I want to bring up, pretty much any app, I would just hit custom. And let's just go ahead and assign it to, YouTube here. So you can also subscription shorts. So I want to go straight into BrainRod Shorts. Just click it. Boom. Of course, my content comes up first. Now, that sensor that I was telling you guys about on the side of the phone, you can do your heart rate, you can do manage blood oxygen, and this right here, your heart rate variability, stress. So let's see what we got here. It doesn't take that long. You just have to keep your thing on here for it looks like 30 seconds. All right.
So you guys can see we got measured everything. Got a stress 19, all in normal range, stress level pretty low. So very cool, little feature to have. It doesn't just stop there. It has a feature that I really love, and I believe like pretty much only Xiaomi does this, but Infinix does it too. They give you the IR blaster, which I feel every company should give you a IR blaster, guys.
You can control all of your TVs and appliances. You got projectors. I mean, you guys can see all the stuff it lists. This is extremely useful. I do not use remote controllers ever since I got introduced to the IR Blaster. It's super convenient. So I really like the IR Blaster. I wish every phone again had that feature. Let's talk about the benchmarks and scores here.
Android 16, you get 3 years of major OS updates being promised. It's running the Exos 16. And then we have the MediaTek Dimensity processor on here as well. These are the scores that I got just running the test. Sometimes Geekbench, you have to run the test multiple times, but I've seen people get into the 16s and then the 6000s on this phone. So yeah.
So those are like, the range. It's kind of on par with, I would say it's looking like a Snapdragon 7 plus Gen 2. Basically, it's on par with that. Yeah, it's pretty much on par with that. And I mean, the multi-core score is kind of on par with like a 8 Gen 2, actually, like I said, because we actually get higher scores in this. Here are the Wildlife Extreme scores, which are pretty good. You can see here are the frame rates we're getting here from this Dimensity processor here. Let's go ahead and actually see what we get in PUBG here. See if we can get 120 frames. All right, let's see what we're getting on PUBG here. Oh, so we actually get 120 frames. Wow, that's crazy. 120 frames. Super smooth, guys. Yeah, that is absolutely insane here. So this device does have 256 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM on the base model here. So animations are pretty smooth on here, as you guys can see. And also, this does run our AI functions really smooth since we have that 12 gigs of RAM. Everything is pretty fast on here. So when there's no signal, so if you're at sea or on a mountain, you can make calls, send messages over satellite network. So that is pretty cool as well. And there is also a bunch of AI features as well. So you do have a ton of AI features that probably check out more in depth in another video, but this is a lot more than on the Note 60 Pro. So very, very cool. The AI theme generator seems like a pretty cool one as well. So this is stuff that you can kind of mess with. You can just text the image and do a bunch of kind of cool stuff here. So again, I'll probably play around with this later, but yeah, you have your AI features all here. So we do have speakers on here tuned by Jabil. So we got them at max volume. Let's see what they sound like. Very good sound clarity. Definitely needs a little bit more bass. Is definitely lacking in the bass department, but they are pretty loud and have really clean sound. It just needs more bass for sure. Now the top speaker gives out some pretty clean sound as well, but I would say, yeah, sounds actually pretty good. Just lacks in the bass department. Now the fingerprint scanner on here, it's an optical one and it's pretty smooth and I really like the animation here. It makes it kind of like a cash register sound. Really weird. I've never heard that. I guess that kind of goes with maybe their theme. But yeah, so the animation's pretty smooth and I don't really have an issue with it. You can use Space Unlock as well too. Now with this camera, you have a much beefier camera setup than on the Note 60 Pro. It's a 200 megapixel standard and a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto 3-point optical zoom, which will punch in all the way up to 100 times zoom. So that's pretty cool. And then we also have a 8 megapixel ultra wide. We can shoot in 4K 60 video. And then we have a 32 megapixel selfie that also can shoot in 4K 30. And if we check out our modes here, you guys can see we do have, or these are all your modes. So we have a pro mode, dual record mode, and a bunch of stuff you guys can see here. And down here, we have Super Night, Street Snap, our portrait mode, and our Ultra HD, which will get us that, really high-res 200 megapixel shot here. So I think the overall photos look pretty good.
I was really more impressed with how good the colors are. Very, pretty natural colors on here. I thought the telephoto lens did a pretty good job. And I think the main lens is also pretty good too. Like I said, most impressive thing for me was the color and video honestly looked pretty solid on here as well. Again, giving me really good color, some pretty decent detail.
But I think in my first impressions of the camera, I don't think they're bad at all. I think they actually look pretty solid. So this phone has a massive battery. has a 7,000 milliamp battery. So I'm very curious to see what kind of screen on time I get, but we should get pretty much all day battery life, 2 days battery life out of this phone, if not even more, if you're a lighter user. So very curious. And it charges, like I said, pretty fast. And it's really nice that we actually get the charger. In the box here, we have 50-watt wireless charging. And I think that wired charging, I think it goes from 0 to 50% 18 minutes. And you can get 100% in less than an hour. Actually, 48 minutes, which is nice. And you also have reverse wireless charging on here as well, too. So you can charge up if you have earbuds or something like that. So first impressions, very cool phone. You get a lot, you get, similar to a flagship experience for a lot cheaper than you would pay for a 17 Pro Max and a S25 Ultra. You're getting a pretty solid performer here. So what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this phone? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next.